Now, this morning, just for a moment, let me address the children who are present. I want to read something that we read last week, boys and girls. And then I'm going to show you a picture. And then I'm going to tell you something about the picture. Now, I'm not going to give you all the information today. I'm going to keep some for next week. So you'll have to come back next week and hear the rest of the story. In Psalm 100, the Bible says, "Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people, and the sheep of his pasture." And I want you to think of the words, "It is he that hath made us." And I want you to think this morning about your Creator and Maker. Because I brought a picture here with me. All right? And this picture, it may be hard for you to see from the back, but this picture is of a little grey Fergie tractor. And of course, this tractor was designed by a man called Harry Ferguson. And he was born on the 4th of November, 1884. And he was born in a place called Growell in Dromore, County Down, not really that far from Carryduff. And Mr. Harry Ferguson became one of the great 20th century inventors. In fact, the name Harry Ferguson is known and celebrated all around the world. And one of his designs was the little grey Fergie. It was known better as the TE20. And of course, his invention is a lasting legacy to this day. And his invention informs an integral part of modern day tractors, cars, and aeroplanes. Now, whenever Harry Ferguson designed the TE20, nothing had been attempted like this before in the whole of the world. His vision was really for a new power unit. He wanted a complete range of implements to attach to that power unit. Plows. We could also think of cultivators, rotavators, tillers, and many more things. Now, I have to tell you, his design didn't come about by accident or by chance. Suppose this morning I had the power to take this little grey Fergie apart and put all the bits in different positions and say to you to come and see the little grey Fergie tractor. You would say to me, "That's not a tractor, that's tractor parts." And you could have all the parts of a little grey Fergie, but you wouldn't have a little grey Fergie tractor unless all those parts were put together. And it didn't come about by accident. It didn't come about by chance. It came about because he had an idea in his head and he designed from scratch. There was nothing else there, this little grey Fergie. And you know how long it took him? 30 years. He started in 1917. And the first tractor, the little grey Fergie, was 1948. And I know a man here in Carryduff, and he's not that far from the church, and he has a little grey Fergie in his shed. And sometime, if you want, I could arrange for him for you to go and see it. And you know what? He might even let you sit in it. Now, I want you to think about the fact that this little grey Fergie was designed. I've told you who was the designer and the inventor, how long it took, and it didn't come about by accident. And I want you to think of this. This world didn't come about by accident or chance. Because remember reading the Bible, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. And the very whole of the universe was designed by God, and it was him that brought it to pass. God is this world's great designer. And God did it in 6 days, 6 24-hour days. And God did it by the very word of his power. He just spoke it into existence. And we could read in Genesis 1, from day 1 right through to verse 6, all that God did. And remember in the 6th day how he took man, the dust of the ground, and formed a human body and breathed into that man the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And as you look at this little grey Fergie, you would say that had a designer, and you're right. But as you look at yourself in the mirror, and we all do that every day, I just want you to think of this. God made me, and you're special, and you have a unique DNA that nobody else in the whole of the world has, and that makes you you, and makes me me, and that makes you different from me, and that makes you special. So I just want you to think of those words. It is he that hath made us. I have a designer, a maker, a creator, and his name is God. And I want you to acknowledge that in your heart and mind today. Now, next week, if you're back, I will tell you something more about the little grey Fergie. And maybe I'll even have a model of a grey Fergie as well for you to look at. All right, so that's for next week.